lost my purpose now. It's like,
well, give up then.
No.
Jesus!
Hello everybody and welcome to the Wednesday show. I'm Hammer and I'm usually joined by two of my favorite Wednesday show hosts, Jen T. Maxey in Canada and Terry DeMantis down under. You can find us on Rumble every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and then we bring in YouTube at 9 p.m. to simulcast on YouTube as well. Hope you have time to stop by.
That was my first moment of real doubt. When I started to wonder, this whole thing was a mistake. So then I went back to my office. And there was a new casualty list waiting for me. People are dying out there every day. Entire worlds are struggling for their freedom. And here I am, still worrying about the finer points of morality. No, I had to keep my eye on the ball, winning the war, stopping the bloodshed. Those were the priorities. So I pushed on, and every time another doubt appeared before me, I just found another way to shove it aside.
I feel like I've lost my purpose now. It's like,
well, give up then.
No.
Jesus!
Hello everybody and welcome to the Wednesday show. I'm Hammer and I'm usually joined by two of my favorite Wednesday show hosts, Jen T. Maxey in Canada and Terry DeMantis Down Under. You can find us on Rumble every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and then we bring in YouTube at 9 p.m. to simulcast on YouTube as well. Hope you have time to stop by.
That was my first moment of real doubt. When I started to wonder if this whole thing was a mistake. So then I went back to my office. And there was a new casualty list waiting for me. People are dying out there every day. Entire worlds are struggling for their freedom. And here I am, still worrying about the finer points of morality. No, I had to keep my eye on the ball, winning the war, stopping the bloodshed. Those were the priorities. So I pushed on, and every time another doubt appeared before me, I just found another way to shove it aside.
I feel like I've lost my purpose now. It's like,
Well, give up then.
Yeah, but yeah.
No.
Jeebus!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday show. I'm Hammer, and I'm usually joined by two of my favorite Wednesday show hosts, Genty Maxey in Canada and Terry DeMantis Down Under. You can find us on Rumble every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and then we bring in YouTube at 9 p.m. to simulcast on YouTube as well. Hope you have time to stop by.
That was my first moment of real doubt. When I started to wonder, this whole thing was a mistake. So then I went back to my office. And there was a new casualty list waiting for me. People are dying out there every day. Entire worlds are struggling for their freedom. And here I am, still worrying about the finer points of morality. No, I had to keep my eye on the ball, winning the war, stopping the bloodshed. Those were the priorities. So I pushed on, and every time another doubt appeared before me, I just found another way to shove it aside.
I feel like I've lost my purpose now. It's like,
Well, give up then.
no.
Jeebus!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday show. I'm Hammer, and I'm usually joined by two of my favorite Wednesday show hosts, Genty Maxie in Canada and Terry Diamantis down under. You can find us on Rumble every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and then we bring in YouTube at 9 p.m. to simulcast on YouTube as well. Hope you have time to stop by.
That was my first moment of real doubt. When I started to wonder, this whole thing was a mistake. So then I went back to my office. And there was a new casualty list waiting for me. People are dying out there every day. Entire worlds are struggling for their freedom. And here I am, still worrying about the finer points of morality. No, I I had to keep my eye on the ball, winning the war, stopping the bloodshed. Those were the priorities. So I pushed on, and every time another doubt appeared before me, I just found another way to shove it aside.
I feel like I've lost my purpose now. It's like,
Well, give up then.
No.
Jeepers!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday show. I'm Hammer, and I'm usually joined by two of my favorite Wednesday show hosts, Jen Maxey in Canada and Terry Diamantis down under. You can find us on Rumble every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and then we bring in YouTube at 9 p.m. to simulcast on YouTube as well. Hope you have time to stop by.
That was my first moment of real doubt. When I started to wonder, this whole thing was a mistake. So then I went back to my office. And there was a new casualty list waiting for me. People are dying out there every day. Entire worlds are struggling for their freedom. And here I am, still worrying about the finer points of morality. No, I had to keep my eye on the ball, winning the war, stopping the bloodshed. Those were the priorities. So I pushed on, and every time another doubt appeared before me, I just found another way to shove it aside.
I feel like I've lost my purpose now. It's like,
Well, give up then.
No.
Jeepers!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday show. I'm Hammer, and I'm usually joined by two of my favorite Wednesday show hosts, Genty Maxie in Canada and Terry Diamantis down under. You can find us on Rumble every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and then we bring in YouTube at 9 p.m. to simulcast on YouTube as well. Hope you have time to stop by.
That was my first moment of real doubt. When I started to wonder, this whole thing was a mistake. So then I went back to my office. And there was a new casualty list waiting for me. People are dying out there every day. Entire worlds are struggling for their freedom. And here I am, still worrying about the finer points of morality. No, I had to keep my eye on the ball, winning the war, stopping the bloodshed. Those were the priorities. So I pushed on, and every time another doubt appeared before me, I just found another way to shove it aside.
I feel like I've lost my purpose now. It's like,
Well, give up then.
Yeah, but yeah.
No.
Jeebus!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday show. I'm Hammer, and I'm usually joined by two of my favorite Wednesday show hosts, Genty Maxie in Canada and Terry Diamantis down under. You can find us on Rumble every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and then we bring in YouTube at 9 p.m. to simulcast on YouTube as well. Hope you have time to stop by.
Minions of the Zoo. In space!
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Minions of the Zoo in space. I'm the keeper for tonight, Tyr Alexander, and I'm here with my friends Mitch Nemo,
My phasers are armed and loaded.
uh, Critical Thinkers Guild,
I'll be back.
Rotten Corpse,
What up?
and Willard Forge.
Be the reason that somebody quit social media today.
What?
He
That's a
said,
good one. I like that intro.
he said, be the reason someone quit social media today.
Oh, good plan.
I like that. I like that a lot.
And it's Monday night, so we're gonna play some Star Trek Online. We're gonna talk a lot of shit, but
Probably stepping it from time to time.
probably. But Critical had a opener, and I think it was a really good topic, and I hope he starts from the beginning.
Okay, so there's I can't remember what the TV show is called that I was watching, and it has to do with this character who had a bunch of Nazi symbolism and tattoos all over his face. Over time, he grew this beard out, and he no longer believes in that. He no longer does any, he no longer ran with that lifestyle anymore. And he was in the hospital. While he was in the hospital, his friends, even one black friend of his, shaved his beard off. Everybody made fun of him. They distanced himself. They brought his wife in. She didn't even know about it. And the doctors who okayed the shaving should have, they were all making fun of it. And my question that I presented here is,
starting the TFO.
how would you... Okay.
I have a question before you about the narrative. I thought it was his buddies who shaved him,
They did. His buddies shaved him.
and the
Because they were
doctor.
trying
The doctors.
The doctors okayed him to do it. Okay.
See, that's where it gets weird. I don't think a doctor would do that. But anyway, I know it's in the context of a TV show.
It's in a
so
TV
it's not-
show, yeah.
Yeah.
A real doctor wouldn't allow that if it's not the consent of the person. Even as a prank, they wouldn't let it happen.
Right.
Because that could qualify them to get sued.
Yes. As I had said earlier in the discussion before we went live, it is an active battery.
Yep. It definitely is.
But you now pose your question at the end of the scenario,
Yeah.
because I kind of
The
sidetracked.
the question I kind of want to ask is, would you still fuck with this guy? Would you still be friends with this person?
The guy with the tattoos.
Yeah. Regardless if he had all that on him, and give him a chance to, you gave him a chance to explain and everything else.
Well, see, I would, if I gave him a chance to explain, and I found the explanation reasonable, I'd still be his friend.
Again,
And even if the explanation is, oh yeah, he used to believe in that stuff when he was like 16 to 21 or something like that, and then after that he no longer believes that.
People change, and when they're that young, they are frequently influenced badly by both family and peers.
Yep.
do you?
Exactly.
It reminds me of the movie American History X, essentially. In that movie, Edward Norton's character is an unabashed, begins the story as an unabashed neo-Nazi racist. He hates black people. However, when he goes to prison after killing a black person, he meets one black guy and they become really good friends. You know, and the people he thought were his friends turn out to be
All turned on him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, that's before, but that was before. That was before. You know, he becomes really well. After he becomes really good friends, and he realizes that they're fucking liars and con artists, and they don't believe half the shit they're saying. And here comes this one black guy who stuck up for me and helped me when I needed help. So when he gets out, he becomes like this not born again Christian, but he doesn't believe in that shit anymore. And like trying to get his kid brother, who's starting to go down this darker path, out that life. It is sort of like that. He realized the error of his ways by holy shit, seeing the people for who they were, and meeting somebody that was outside the stereotype.
Right.
And somebody that he grew up to be good friends with.
Yeah, so again, but
I'm talking to the cat. That's my right lung, Wazowski.
You don't need that long.
When he decides he's being ignored, he climbs up on my chest and settles all 17 to 19 pounds of him on my right lung. Always the right lung.
You don't need that lung. You're fine. That lung is superfluous. It's redundant. It's a redundant lung.
Indeed.
You're good. But
well, I mean, it's the left lung that's got the asbestos in it. So, I mean, is it really redundant?
Oh yeah, I guess it would be. All right. I guess you did need that lung.
Really? Damn.
But it's just shit like that just because some he had a past. As long as he treated me good, as long as you were a good, decent human being to me, I'm not gonna judge you for the things you did as a child. And yes,
yeah,
18,
because everyone's a
19,
different person when they're
20,
younger.
You're a child.
I mean, maybe the whole thing
switch
you
it up
gotta
a bit.
discuss it.
Let's switch it up a bit and say that the guy advocated or engaged in kitty fiddling.
Okay, nope. That's a whole different.
Nope, that's a whole different ball game.
Does that change our responses? I think it does.
All right, that's a whole different monster.
Right, but in the
racism and pedophilia are completely different situations.
I know that, but the bigger discussion here is about stupid things we do as a kid.
Fair enough.
Right.
And and it's also a question of where we draw lines.
Fair point.
Okay,
that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they're the same thing. I'm saying at what point do we draw lines?
All right, I draw the line at when his actions hurt another person. Now,
so in the American History X version, where Edward Norton murdered somebody, we don't have that same forgiveness.
We have this. We wouldn't have. He already paid his time. He already paid his debt to society.
Well, I can actually switch up Mitch's thought process with a different version of that, to where, it shows in his record that technically he's committed statutory, and that whole thing, but then you come to find out that the woman he supposedly committed statutory against is his wife, and it's her parents who pushed it, because they pushed it immediately after he turned 18.
Right. Okay, so that right there is a completely different story too.
Circumstances too.
Mm-hmm. Again, that's where we're looking at. You have to look into what the circumstances.
You have to investigate beyond the surface, regardless of what the scenario is.
Yeah, because that's the case.
How you make the decision. That's the information you use to make the decision to act in one direction or another.
Yeah. All right. If it's they both 17 and he turned 18 first, and the parents didn't like him, then that's a totally different monster from him touching a child, and totally different monster from him,
intentionally touching a child.
Yeah. In that scenario, I'd start refusing to interact with that particular group of parents.
Yes.
I say because
I have a similar story.
Hold on. for that situation, there'd be a lot of people that would just hear he committed, like he was accused, and the whole thing of committing statutory, and be like, all right, I'm done with him without finding out more about it. So again, it's that whole thing. It's like we gonna have to talk because we're gonna have to find out if like it's
If
things
it's
weren't
reasonable.
explained right, or I'm gonna be giving you the ass whooping from hell.
Yeah,
Right.
Like, all right. Again, this is. I'm as a friend, I'd give you that benefit of the doubt. You come to me with an explanation, and you can back up what you say. Oh well, it was this. Her parents. We were 18, and I was 18. She was 17, but her parents fucking hated me. But once she got out from under them, we got married and everything was kosher. If that's the case, you could bring me evidence to say that was it. Then I know that you aren't the dick in this situation, and the parents are. So I need to thank God I'm not. Hopefully, I'm not friends with her parents. But if I am, I'm going to distance myself from them because they
Well, it's
are
going that
asses.
whole
And-
thing like
and
like
also-
Mitch said,
also-
it's getting more information than just what you're finding out the bare basic of it. So going back
Yeah.
to the TV show, if they just saw those things but had known him for several years with the beard and he'd never been like that and decided to distance themselves from him, they're superficial pricks and they were never his friends to begin with.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% on that. What I was trying to say.
But
What I was trying to say was that this kind of thing is one of those deals. Like, okay, my uncle actually had gone through something similar. He okay, this is actually really hard to go through. I'm not going to name any names, or I'm not going to name any situations like that.
I mean, you don't have to tell. You don't have to put that business out on
Yeah.
YouTube or millions, like my friend. If you don't want to tell the story, you don't have
Oh
to.
no. It's just I have to say it in a delicate way, if that makes sense.
Well, it's a delicate subject matter, so
Damn it, just try.
Yeah, it's a very delicate subject matter. So this situation, my uncle was in the military.
Okay.
He was about 34, about my age, 34, 35. And he was already on his second wife. And his second wife had a child, not his. His second wife, her child, is this complete and utter fucking brat from hell.
Okay.
She comes up with this plan and basically ruins my uncle's entire life over a lie. He was stripped of his ranking in the military because I think he had gone up to E3 in the military. I think he was already up to lieutenant at that point. He went to Leavenworth for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She was what, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 6 years he was in Leavenworth. And come to find out that wasn't the first time that she tried to do something like that. He lost his reputation. Everybody was trying to fight for him. We were all trying to fight for him, and we ended up. I think he did manage to get his record saved on it, expunged.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a long process to happen. And which is why I'm also, yes, I am very anti-pedophile, very, and at the
you've
same
also got
time,
you have to make sure that's what actually happened.
yes,
Yeah.
at the same time, I actually have to understand that, are you doing it or is it a lie, or did you actually do this? Because there's a very fine line on that.
All right. So
That's why we have to
See, and-
interrogate accusations.
yes, like
That's
believe
it.
all women is
There must
fucking
be
insane.
investigation. There must be investigation, not just the assumption of guilt because of the accusation. And
Oh yeah,
sadly,
investigation.
sadly, a woman or girl who falsely accuses of such conduct once is far more likely to falsely accuse of such conduct again.
But
Yeah.
all right,
And
hold
here's the
on,
thing.
hold on, critical, hold on. It is the boy who cried wolf.
Yep.
It's literally that story. There's a reason why the boy who cried wolf is told over and over again. You keep telling the lie, no one will believe you when it actually happens, and that's the problem.
Mhm.
These young girls nowadays are constantly screaming, "He touched me," or "I didn't. It was unconsensual." When like there was a fucking plot in middle school to blame a kid of touching a girl, one of his classmates, because the girls didn't like him.
Mhm.
That was the plot. These girls no older than 10 came up with this plot to do this to a boy because
And
they
girls,
did not like
they
him.
will do that,
Yes,
and they get away with it because there's no
consequence.
consequence for falsely accusing somebody. There's none.
And then you got the white knights who instantly believe, these girls and these women, and then out of nowhere, what if he gets attacked and killed over your lie? You now killed a man
Yep.
because you lied,
Yep.
and you just
Yeah,
want
And they don't feel bad for it.
most of those white knights push the line because they hope that she'll touch them sexually.
Yep.
Yes.
They do.
And the
Also,
girl
the
never
same-
was.
On the same level, there are fucking assholes on Facebook and Twitter themselves. Whenever there's a person who's comes out as a teacher who has touched a young male child, they're like, "Where was this teacher when I was a kid?"
Hold on.
Oh, there's a
Oh,
total
fucking-
double standard.
Wait a minute. Wait one second.
Oh, yeah.
One second. I want to read JB's chat. He says, "I would start by never getting the swastika tattoo on my face, Lau. That said, he isn't that guy anymore. Then I'd forgive him." He also says, "Yeah, I think so. They really can change. I think a huge thing people don't think of nowadays. A great guy can turn an enemy into a friend." Yeah. LOL, lungs are for losers. I'm afraid of when. I was afraid that was what going to say. Romeo and Juliet is fine. I draw the line at sex crime, simple as sex crimes are fucked up, man. Think about how vulnerable a kid is. It is one of the few crimes where you are more likely to get away with it because by targeting the
You're
weak.
skipping out here.
Yeah.
It may be a storm rolling around in my area. If that happens, forgive me.
You're good.
What do you do though? How do you work that into the legal system? Yeah, that's gross too.
We have
Hey, JB,
worked into the legal system. It's called beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah,
And-
assuming, there's a couple of things he might be referring to there. The first thing is you actually do investigations. You go for proving guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
Picking up
Now
TFL.
go ahead. There's a vast spread of space between guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, can't prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, but they probably did it. And yeah, we can actually prove the accuser lied. So the thing that you do is you say, okay, if we can prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, all is good there. We're not worried about stuff. Obviously, we've done a thorough investigation. We've been able to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
Correct.
If it's, hey, we can't prove it either way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Unless we have solid reason to believe the accusation is made in bad faith, which starts putting in the direction of, hey, we may have reason to believe the opposite. It's a, yeah, we can't say that we can't charge the person because we can't prove beyond a reasonable doubt, but you're also not going to face any penalties just because we can't prove that he's guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Where you do, and that's, so far those two parts together are where we are right now. You
All right.
can't prove
Exactly,
it
it's a
beyond a
hard part,
reasonable
it's a hard
doubt.
thing to
There's,
prove.
there's no negative legal implication to you. Nothing comes after you just because they can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Where I have an issue and where we should have an issue is when we can demonstrably prove
It's
that
false.
the accusations are false. And I don't mean,
Yes.
hey, there's mistaken identity. I don't mean, hey, we can't prove that she was raped, but
No, you're
yeah,
talking about
reasonably she
malicious
was raped.
intent,
I'm talking
Yes.
about
malice
the
aforethought.
girl wasn't raped and we can prove it, or the girl wasn't raped by this guy and we can prove she knew it wasn't this guy when she made the accusation, things like that. And in those circumstances, her minimum sentence upon conviction should be the maximum sentence he faced had he been guilty of the thing she accused him of.
100%.
A false accusation, demonstrably proven false accusation. She gets a trial for them to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she knowingly made a false accusation. And if convicted, then she faces serious penalties. That's not going to... People do like, well, that's going to make rape victims do, not want to report. No!
It's going to make false
That
rape
makes
victims
rape-
not want to report.
Thank you.
If you are looking at a situation like that and you are paranoid about facing a potential penalty for reporting it, then one of a few things is going on. The first one is you weren't raped. Because if you know you were raped, then you have nothing to fear unless they can then prove that you deliberately and knowingly falsely accused the person. It's like, hey, she was, and it's not a, hey, she was raped, just got the identification of the person wrong. Mistaken identities happen.
Yep.
But if you've got the, hey, she was raped, potentially, I mean, it's plausible. It's not disproven that she was raped at this point, but she knows the person she accused didn't do it for whatever reason. And we can prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. The burden of proof is still there. Then she needs to be penalized.
Again, the problem is the thing is, the reason why there are so many false accusations and attacks like that is because there is no consequence for lying.
Yeah.
If there was a consequence for lying, you wouldn't do it.
Yep.
And the last time I saw anything reported on this, it was through a Bearing video. He did a dive into a lot of the data, and for every situation where it was proven beyond a reasonable doubt on the basis of, there was a conviction that there was rape, in every situation where it was proven to be a false accusation, for every one that was proven beyond a reasonable doubt to be guilty, there were 2 that were proven beyond a reasonable doubt to be absolutely innocent, not just not guilty,
Fucking mattress
a
girl.
false accusation. And
Duke
then
lacrosse thing.
Duke lacrosse, mattress girl, but you take that, and that only accounts for somewhere between 15 and 25% of all accusations. The vast majority of them just stand unproven.
Yep.
And guess what happens if this philosophy is properly applied? All those unproven cases, the woman faces no penalty.
I hate that, and I fucking hate it.
Look,
No,
this
if
is-
it's unproven, if it's
hold on.
just unproven, she shouldn't face a penalty, because if it's just unproven,
Oh yeah,
they
yeah.
haven't
If it's not
they
proven,
haven't
right.
proven beyond a reasonable doubt that's a false accusation.
All right, we need to define false accusation and a false accusation with malice.
Yes.
Well, no, I will
malicious
draw
intent.
a distinction between and I will stand and die on this hill if I have to, between a false accusation and a mistaken accusation.
Yes,
Because
there is. I will agree with that.
The mistaken accusation, you have the, okay, she was raped and she just messed up the identity of who did it. The false
Which could theoretically be
accusation,
possible.
the false accusation, either she knows she wasn't raped, or she knows she was raped and she knows the person she accused didn't do it. And there's a huge discrepancy, a huge difference between I mistaken the identity of the person who attacked me that way, and I know this person isn't the one, but I'm going to accuse them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
What was I about to say? Fuck.
50 Splinters owes everyone shrink money for
Go,
always
Jen.
wearing low
Hey, Jen.
cuts. It was old saggy too.
It's the problem with shit like this is that you have look the ones that do the false accusations, the ones that are malicious with their intent. Like I don't want this shit tried in the court of public opinions either. Like if you make these accusations, either if you're gonna say he raped you, you were raped, you need to go to the police immediately. You can't be just leaving that shit in the court of public opinion.
On that same token,
Yeah.
I was gonna say if someone is flat out being a creep, right? Flat out just being a creep creeping on somebody. That is a whole different bottle game and a whole different category.
Being a creep and being a rapist is not the same.
Right.
Look,
what is the legal definition of creep?
Basically, texting or messaging inappropriately to a minor.
Stalking.
To a minor is far worse than being a creep, and it is illegal.
Show me in any law where the word creep shows up. Is what I'm getting at.
You know what I meant. It's not
no. All right. Critical. I got it. We have to define what the crimes are: harassment, stalking. Hey Jen. Harassment, stalking.
Again.
Unwanted sexual contact, if I think it is. Not necessarily,
unwanted sexual contact to a minor.
Well,
that should be more accurate.
Well, no, a creep. If you're going to define a creep, then you need to give the crime that he's doing. You need to say harassment's already a crime. Stalking's already a crime. Unwanted sexual contact or sexual battery is already a crime.
Agreed.
And sexting a minor is already a crime.
Yeah, those are already crimes. But the quote unquote, just because he's a creep, just because he gives off this weird vibe and he's always watching like porn on his fucking phone in the middle of the break room, does not make him a criminal. I'm just saying, he's a creep, so he must have done something. No, if he's not doing anything, if you just don't fucking like him, does not make him,
Doesn't mean he's committed a crime.
Yeah, I mean, look, I creeped on girls that I worked with, but it was the kind of thing where I'd be behind a doorway with just the upper portion of my head showing from the side of the door. From the side of the doorway, just waiting for them to notice me so I could get a laugh out of them.
That's a different thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, that's why the word creep does not appear as a crime in any legal text that I know of. Anyway.
I'm not trying to say that the word creep is a crime. I'm not trying to say that.
See, I know that.
Hold on.
Oh, here it comes.
Well, it's overall not the crime. It's more of just like kind of like how men have like boxes they tick off that are red flags. It might end up being a red flag for somebody. That's all.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, but a red flag.
You know,
We are
and
talking about the
I think
application
I think
of
for
law.
both sexes that's okay. I think both sexes should have that.
But a red
Agreed.
flag
You
isn't a
don't-
crime.
But we are
No.
talking about the application of law.
Mhm.
And when it comes to the application of law, things have to be precise in order for justice to be served.
It's why everybody can so easily happily throw Lily Tino under the bus right now, because fucker, you fucked up.
Ooh.
I mean,
You fucked around.
There's an actual law being broken. Yeah.
He absolutely went into the female's bathroom in the Florida Disneyland.
Yeah.
Oh, that fucker.
He actually
Yeah.
He actually made it a plan to go to every fucking bathroom, and he was recording everywhere. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's not legal.
that's fucked up.
All right, hold on.
And-
Now, wait a minute, Jeff. All right, I'm going to. He did some really unsavory behavior
Illegal
with
stuff.
kids. No. So there's a video of him asking a child, about 14 years old, I believe his name was Sheldon, do you eat the groceries? And I'm not talking about, like, do you really get there and eat the groceries? A child.
Yeah, I just watched that with the Blair White video too. But even if I hadn't seen that, it was his excuse in the bathroom when he was trying to be like, oh yeah, your kids saw me in the bathroom and now they have a corn dog. I'm like, no, you violated a kid's privacy. That's what they're angry about. It's not that they saw you. No one gives a fuck about you. In fact, most people don't want to look at you because you're not attractive. Just saying. It's the violation of privacy and being like, oh, it's okay to do it to a kid. You are absolutely. He is absolutely
he's in legal trouble because it's illegal in Florida to record in a bathroom, any bathroom.
Well, yeah,
Any bathroom, yeah.
Look, it wouldn't matter the age or gender of the other people in the bathroom. You can't go into a bathroom and just start recording people.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just gross.
It's the part where he's constantly trying to do it with kids.
Yes.
That has everyone so fucking narrowed down on him. Because, like, as an adult woman, okay, I would find that annoying, but okay, it's some weirdo. It's not worth fighting every weirdo. But when it's the kids, he's narrowing in on these kids. And I'm sorry, that right away is a pedo red flag if there ever was one.
Absolutely.
And I don't care what gender you subscribe to. The minute you let me know that you're willing to sell out a kid, go to jail.
Yep. Wood chipper, the way that JD would say it.
Mm-hmm.
But like what you guys are saying, no, I don't think every guy who's a little bit socially awkward or, yes, they might come across as creepy. That might not be the thing for certain ladies, but that's not a crime. Because if it is, then a lot of those ladies better start questioning themselves, because some of them are fucking creepy too.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a two-way street.
Yep.
Just and again, unless it's an actual crime, it shouldn't be. You shouldn't try somebody in the court of public opinions. Like if you're gonna throw around these accusations, if you're gonna call somebody a rapist, you need to be able to fucking put your steel on that shit and stand in front of the court of law with that one. You can't just
we also got to get rid of rape shield laws.
Yeah, you can't just throw that shit out there and not expect. That should be an automatic investigation. If someone throws that out there, you have to fucking report that. That has to be a report, and that has to be filed, and that shit has to be investigated. You can't just be throwing shit like that out there. And anyone that, she said he did. Okay, did she go to the police? Did she go, get this and this tested? And unless she did, I don't fucking believe her.
Well, yeah, look at the E. Jean Carroll versus Trump case.
Yeah.
200 years later.
The same thing with Bill Cosby.
And all the facts are out of order. No, I'm sorry, you don't get to do that. There's no physical evidence after 200 years. No physical evidence. The facts are out of order. And yeah, that's a political prosecution, and everyone knows it.
Shit, I got one better for you. The Bill Cosby shit and the Christine Blasey Ford shit.
Yeah.
You didn't you can't get the timeline straight. He wasn't at that fucking party you claim he was at. Everybody said he wasn't there, and you can't remember any other details. You didn't go to the police with this shit. And the same thing for the Bill Cosby. You claim he did this, but you didn't go to the police with this shit. He wasn't. It's not like he was a politician. He's not that important in the grand scheme of things. He didn't own the fucking police. So why didn't you go to the police with it? Where's your evidence? No. And that shit came out right around the time of fucking Me Too. It instantly fucking didn't pass muster for me.
Right. And if you look at the way the case was handled, the way, oh God, Judge Joe Brown pointed it out. And I can't remember. I think they used, usually the way it works is you use a criminal case to justify the existence of a civil case. But there was, they couldn't manage a criminal case. So they used a civil case as leverage to create a criminal case, which is apparently blatantly illegal, or it's something to that effect.
Shit.
They used the process backwards to get Cosby.
Yeah.
It's not just that. Like, it's also the way certain places actually respond to certain cases. Like, you can tell that there's a lack of any responsibility in terms of dealing with something. So the only time I've ever had to report a kid, I didn't report him. I was trying to get them to understand that he was being inappropriate. He was mentally handicapped, and I wanted them to actually tell the person he's working with that he was doing some stuff that, like, in all honesty, he was a liability to himself.
Okay.
Because he was following me around, and then he would make it a point of reading out my name tag by sticking his face as close to my chest as he could get. And I just was like, okay, listen, like I can laugh that off. Like I'm not that fussy about it. But if he does that to a customer, then
or
that's
somebody
not
else.
Yeah.
So when I reported it, it wasn't because I wanted him to get in trouble. I literally wanted them to talk with the person who's supposed to be working with him and maybe his parents so that they could work with him on it.
Right.
Because I like, you know, I understand that there's a sense of like he doesn't necessarily know that it's wrong. And that's what they went with, just writing him up. And I was like, that's not what I wanted you to do. I'm not trying to get the kid fired. I'm trying to get you to help him so that he doesn't make a mistake or something. And,
right.
and I'm like, I couldn't imagine dealing with the system if it was a big deal, because they're just going to lie about the whole thing.
Well, see, I had a similar situation. Fortunately, I wasn't involved in it. I was there when it happened, though. I didn't even witness it. But apparently what went down was we had a gal that worked with us, and we had the special kids would come in. We volunteered to let them come in, and we'd help to teach them real life work experience kind of stuff, so that they could better integrate into society and whatnot. And one of them decided he would slip a note into one girl's pocket, and it didn't quite go as the kid planned.
Yeah.
But you know, the kid had no ill intent. He just liked the girl, and he wanted to tell her, and he couldn't tell her verbally, so he slipped a note in her pocket, and he had to learn that that was an inappropriate thing to do.
We need to start teaching. We also in this country need to start teaching kids at a young age that doing certain things as an adult, when you get to an adult age, is really inappropriate, and you cannot do that.
Well, we got too many. No, we don't have a lot. We have children in bodies of adults. You know, that's we have a shit ton of those. People that
a lot of them are parents.
You know, people that have never grown up.
it's also sometimes I do feel for a lot of parents, but for every parent that's actually decent, there's a bunch of them who rely on things like, well, my kid has autism, or my kid is like this, and they use it as a shield for bad behavior.
Culture.
And I'm like, no, listen, if you really love your kids, you need to teach them right from wrong. Like, don't beat them up. I'm not asking for verbal abuse. You need to take the patience and teach them right from wrong, because you're signing them up for a really hard time if they don't get that. And that's where I'm at. Like,
honestly, I think the worst part, because I called it excuse culture, but it's not the excuse being used to excuse the child's behavior. The excuse culture comes into play when the parents use it as an excuse to not be responsible parents. Oh, the kid's got anxiety or ADHD or post-traumatic stress, so I don't have to be a proper parent. That's what they're really telling you.
Yeah.
You know, your kid being screwed up in some way, one, is probably your fault in the first place, and B, it doesn't absolve you of parental responsibility.
Exactly, 100%.
And it's not like I'm not without sympathy. You know, it's not like I don't have sympathy, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's something, you know, friends that I have with autistic kids have said. If you really, really love your kids, you need to be able to set them up for later in life, because you're not going to be around forever. Nobody lives forever, and your kids they're going to be left with what they have. And they barely can take criticism, let alone, like, hey, you're not doing, you really shouldn't be doing that. You know?
Yeah,
oh, absolutely. Fuck not.
Kids
today, oh man.
I want to make the
kids
joke
today.
For Futurama.
Oh, sure.
That whole thing. Because Jen said, you know, it's like, you're not gonna live forever. It's like, huh? Thanks to denial, I'm immortal.
I'm immortal.
I'm immortal. That's Bender.
No, that's Fry.
That's Fry.
Oh.
Baby
I thought that'd be a Bender joke.
Thanks to denial, I'm immortal. Let's switch topic, because this one got a little heavier.
It did. It kind of went off the rails.
I think this one will make Mitch a lot happy. Did you know that the ADLU is suing the Trump administration on behalf of all future people and unborn people?
That's not allowed.
Well, hold on.
No, that should not even enter the system because it lacks standing.
But they're trying. They're trying to create standing based off of. They're trying to sue them on the grounds for birthright citizenship. However, as pointed out by Temple, which is honestly I think is a good point out, is that if they're allowed to create this standing, if they're allowed to use that as standing, then it would call into question abortion, because here's a class of people that can't speak for themselves and are the main if they have a right, if they have basic rights as unborn people to citizenship, then they have as unborn people right to life. And he said, and following that same frame of logic, abortion would become illegal.
Yep.
Like.
Yep, 100%.
If again, so I'm more than willing to let the ADL do this. Let them burn themselves. Let them try
to burn themselves.
God damn it!
I'm not willing to let them do that. Screw that. Because that's just something that's going to be used against me one day.
Fair enough.
And if you don't want something used against you, you don't let it be used against anyone else either. You have a moral responsibility to not let it be used against someone else.
God damn it! Get off my ass!
I'm sure that does exist, JB. I haven't followed that community in a while.
What, the ass community?
The disabilities community.
So basically,
it got depressing during COVID.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was. Oh man, I think you should teach your kids right from wrong. They should teach your kids everything that they need to survive. And then I think some people shouldn't have fucking kids.
Yep.
Well, it's not that difficult. You teach them to not mess with other people. You know, don't touch them, basically. Keep your hands to yourself, and don't mess with other people's stuff.
Yes.
Again, keep your hands to yourself.
Yes.
Like kids grow up in this thief culture. They grow up in this gangster life too. Ugh, that's annoying as balls.
Shit. Poster child for stupid decisions. Carmela.
Have you guys seen that story about the group of 10 or 11-year-old girls who planned to kill one of their classmates?
Seen that, yeah.
By luring to the bathroom and then stabbing him and claiming it was a suicide.
Yeah, they had a note and everything ready. Yeah, they had a note and everything ready. A bunch of girls.
Yeah.
Because they didn't like him.
That's fucked up.
Fifth grade.
That's a prime example of don't fuck that. Keep your hands to yourself and keep your hands off other people's stuff.
Like, don't touch my stuff.
This is I think if I were that kid's parents, the ones that they were conspiring against, I would go after not just those girls, but those girls' families, parents specifically, and the school itself.
You allowed something like that to faster.
No, not for allowing it, because they're going to do what they're going to do regardless. But if the school and the parents are not being responsible enough to teach these kids to respect the rights of others, I mean, the girls didn't come up with that on their own. They got that somewhere. But what I'm seeing online is this is the result of taking God out of the school. Fuck you.
Oh, fuck. Every time something like that happens.
Look, for every weirdo leftist that wants to call everything racism, I am sick and tired of religious people who want to claim everything is a lack of God.
Schools. So shut the fuck up.
Bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. One is just as bad as the other, and I'm tired of all of them.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah,
it's one of the reasons I'm an atheist, but it's also one of the reasons I won't join any of their fucking groups either. Because I don't like the atheist groups. They're just as bad.
If you need to indoctrinate people by being disingenuous, then you're not doing a very good job. That's just all I got. That's my take on it, and that's what they're doing. And neither of them should be indoctrinating. What should be going on is this, like, what is causing so much fucking anger, and it's everyone's so obsessed with either politics in the world or main character syndrome. I think, I don't know.
Yeah, main character syndrome is the right word.
Pick a new TFO.
Well, look, everyone is the hero of their own story. There's really no way to get around that. Because that's only natural. I mean, why would anyone else be the hero of my story?
You know what? God damn it, bitch.
Because you were holding out for the hero in the morning light.
He's holding out for a hero. Yeah, shut up.
I'm just going to throw up now. No, but it's true. Why else would anyone be the main character in my story?
Fair enough.
I think the whole main character syndrome is a bit of a. I think the terminology is misapplied.
It's one of those ones that I do understand that I'm trying to use it for a certain explanation, but it's like a lot of words right now. It gets thrown around for different things, and that makes it
sense.
But it's
that's
just
right.
A lot of people are so stuck in this idea that, like, you would think that they're reading the world like it's a novel or something, and then the rest of us are like, no, we're trying to get back to real life. Like, desperately.
The world does not revolve around you.
Lost the plot.
No, it's essential. This is how you do it. The world does not revolve around you. You are not the center of the universe. The stars in the sky do not circle your ass. You do not fart rainbows. You do not piss out. You don't piss out sunshine, and you don't shit daffodils. You aren't important.
A lot of LGBT think they do.
You aren't.
I'm not sure about the daffodil thing.
But you aren't important in the grand scheme of things. Like
Like,
your
really,
existence is irrelevant to me.
I think
like
you've hit
the
on
truth.
No one understands or even practices the value of humility anymore.
Nope.
It's one of the things that I learned from watching so many of the grave walkers, is when you read the stones, just how quickly it becomes apparent that we become probably forgotten by the second generation. You're lucky if you last that long. Some people, it's the first generation and you're forgotten once you're gone.
Again, you are not a beautiful to quote one of my favorite lines in a movie, you are not a beautiful and unique snowflake. You are the same decaying organic matter as everything else. You aren't that special. You aren't your fucking khakis. You aren't your fairly teeth in your nice shiny suit. You aren't the car you drive. You aren't important. Like you are.
And too many people think that they are.
Like if if I were to die today or tomorrow, if you were to die today or tomorrow, no one would remember any one of them. And not saying like that. Like I would remember you guys because you guys are my friends. But if yeah, in the grand scheme of things,
Eloquently put.
I'm dust in the fucking wind.
All we are is dust in the wind.
No.
But it is like that when you like I'm not meaning to promote the grave walking guys, but like when you watch it's taking the story out of what it is that you're seeing, and you realize that no, the people that care for you after you're dead most of the time are strangers and the people who care for the graveyard. So like no, you're lucky if you can pass on a legacy, and I'm looking around me and being like, I don't think we're passing on anything. We're passing on garbage.
Johnny Blaze says, I'm
He's
the
anti-hero.
Which I don't mind.
Johnny Blaze says, I was a gangbanger, but that's why I quit after I had my kid. And that's good. Like, you found something far more important, that you realized that this life isn't going to promote anything you want to promote. You want to be around your kid, and I respect that. Like you chose fuck fast money, fuck running around the streets and getting into shootouts and gang fights. My child takes precedent, and I'm thank you, Johnny, for that shit.
I think that's where really, like I have my own regrets, is that I didn't just take a leap of faith. I just didn't want to be stuck in a legal system. I'm still like that. I'd rather pick someone who wants to be with me.
I don't actually want to be the main character in my own story because I don't like myself that much.
Shit, I'd rather be a.
That's fair.
I'd rather be a side character.
What do you think I write fiction?
Yes.
Okay, if we're gonna go down this road, we should also bring up the teachings of like actual what I think it was Nietzsche was trying to do for nihilism, not just nothing matters, bro. But it's supposed to be that if you don't find meaning in religion, in family, in whatever, you need to make your own meaning.
Yeah,
and that's the problem so many people have, is they don't make their own meaning because they think it's supposed to be handed to them.
When Nietzsche said God is dead, he meant it as the definition of life, or the answer to life is not found in God.
Exactly.
It's found. You have to make your own definition. Like, what does life mean for you? I can again. I'm going to say it a lot. I'm going to say this a lot. I can respect that because I fucking can.
Yeah.
That's going to be the model for the show.
I take a look at that, and Nietzsche said that, but God kind of had the last word on that.
God is dead, Nietzsche.
Well, everybody dies. Everybody fucking dies. It's not like he's immortal.
And I was like, no, Nietzsche's dead.
Like the teachings of Nietzsche, the concept of the Übermensch, a man who decides, what his values are, and he sticks by those values and those principles, come what may. Again, that I try to be that. I want to be a man that sticks by his morals and his principles, no matter what, no matter the outcome. In the end, that's what I want to be.
I can agree with that.
Here you keep dropping cues for songs on me. You know how hard it is not to sing every time something crosses my mind?
Bye, bye, bye.
I am the very model.
Sorry, that was a layup.
Sorry.
So everyone sings.
Yes.
No.
Yes, we do.
I didn't.
Again, I think it got a little heavy in this one, so let's jump.
Of course we do. I mean, this is.
We always get heavy in our shit.
I mean, aren't most of us overweight anyways?
Discussions happen and how people evolve as individuals through these discussions. You have to have them.
Yeah. Again, and we're not always going to agree. We're not going to always see eye to eye. But again,
we don't have to.
Yeah, we come out with a better understanding of each other.
Here's a fun question for everyone. What do you think your legacy is?
Oh, I don't have one.
I'm pretty sure I don't have one.
Especially if you don't have kids. What is your legacy? Because offspring is a big part of legacy.
That I dunked on Onision?
Well, but I think of Canada, and I know it's different for you guys. It's all the jokes that I heard over the last 2 years where it was like, Canada used to be based, what happened to, and yes, it's based off of Canadian war crimes, which makes it funny. The truth is like, I did sort of dwell on that. It was like, so there's this thing where like, weak men produce strong men and strong men produce weak men. And I was like, are they trying to cripple that so that we're like weak men, weak men, weak men, weak men, and if we're lucky, we get strong men?
Yep.
Oh, wait.
And the same. Hold on. If we're gonna go with that one, I want to say, JB, thanks for going where I was going. Everyone missed my joke of heavy topic, and I'm pretty sure most of us are overweight.
Oh,
yeah.
But it's strong men create good times create weak men create hard times create strong men.
Yeah.
I just the way I looked at it is like, yes, I do think that Canada has become a weaker place for people, or at least the people have become weaker. And I think if I had to leave a legacy, it would be getting back off my ass and trying to fight that. Like, I don't think going to a protest is what I mean. I mean, if we get the opportunity to start building again, that's what we need to start doing. We need to just actually start fixing
honest with you. All I do is put out my opinions online. I don't. My goal when I was younger, I always wanted to be a philosopher. I wanted to sit there and pontificate and have people listen to my works. And in a sense, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm probably creating a philosophy of Tyr, and it's not about arrogance or anything. It's not about hubris. I think that would be my.
A little bit disappointing.
Go to hell. But it is like if someone were to scour the internet at some point, maybe in my heart of hearts, when I'm long in the dust and my bones have turned to ash and gray and I'm blown across the reeds, somebody will find one of my videos and listen to what I had to say and go, yeah, that guy kind of had a point.
Tyr, that would make a fantastic metal song.
Don't sing it.
He kind of had a.
He kind of had a point. He just lost it in the middle.
Towards the side.
Oh, there's Will. What'd you say, Will?
I said, oh, he kind of had a point. Oh, no, he kept talking. Never mind.
Kind of like how most liberals are. Oh, they kind of had a point there for a minute. Nope, not lost it.
Oh, no, you're good. I just think people who are already hardworking people, they're just waiting for the opportunity. And that opportunity is opening up. It is a lot of the screaming of the liberals that's kind of dragging that down a little bit. And I do think it's going to be time that changes some things, but I think things will be fine.
I think, again, like Rodden said, weak men create bad times create strong men. And we are in that bad time.
Yep.
And there are strong men trying to keep everything afloat, trying to keep the system going, trying to keep everything moving. There are strong men, but there are also weak men trying to destroy what those strong men are doing. And when it comes crashing down upon the backs of the strong men, because they've gotten tired, they've died, they can't hold up the world anymore, strong men will have to rise up again. It's just the inevitability of the situation. It's just what life is. Life is an eternal struggle, eternal cycle of struggle, sacrifice, bloom, and death.
Pretty much,
Especially
yeah.
if you don't engage in planning.
Yeah.
That's literally what I'm trying to say.
Or learning.
Picking up TFL.
It's basically setting up support for those strong men, because I think that's what's cropping up. Like, I think that's what we're going to be stepping into. And it's because there's so many people on the other side that are fucking up so bad. It's the loss of control that they have, where their only response to it is to go to violence. When you do that over and over and over again, that actually does motivate the other side to work harder in a weird way. Because if you can't strike back, you're going to find some other way to get vengeance.
Yep.
I mean,
Vengeance is mine, say it for Mitch.
For every action, there's equal and opposite reaction. That is true in physics. That is true in society. For every push,
true in emotion.
Yeah, but for every push, there's a pull.
In other words, thou shalt not get away with it.
Yep, thou shalt not get away with it forever.
You shall not pass.
Or the other version, I guess, would be what I wrote on Twitter. I think that was today. Early this morning, I wrote, "Dear humans, if you don't want to be called one, don't act like one. That is all."
Yes. Don't want to be called a bitch. Don't act like a bitch.
Well, that's what I love.
You gonna act like a bitch, you gonna die like a bitch.
Wait a minute.
The way I wrote that, it could apply to any word you want it to.
That's true. Act like how you want to be treated.
Yep.
We might also want to encourage. It's not that I want to like double down on the homeschooling, because like that really does depend on the teachers that they hire. You know, good ones can do really well by kids. I think they really should start doing that. Like, do block party versions of it. Just make your own school system.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
well, for certain parts of it, yes, but for other parts of it, I don't know why the teaching profession is made out to be this big, complicated fucking thing where you need 18 degrees and a constant college career to be able to be a teacher. It's bullshit. You want to know how to teach a kid math?
1 + 1 is 2. That's true. Good idea.
Just everyday mundane tasks where you use math, start involving your kid. Yep. Boom, you're homeschooling. It doesn't have to be some other asshole's curriculum.
It's just,
and you get practical application. Sorry for interrupting you. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I actually think it's something that we should be doubling down on, and it's. So one of the things I do think is part of the problem with the system, yeah, it is that they're not teaching the kids, but what they've also done is they probably have about 2.5 generations of kids where some of them are being graduated without being able to read in the first place.
Yes.
Yeah.
I said it like this.
Hold on. To put it in simple terms, real quick here, you got a kid that likes chocolate chip cookies. Okay, cool. You want chocolate chip cookies? You're going to learn how to make them. We're going to teach you how to make your own chocolate chip cookies. So what are the skills needed? Well, you got to know how to read. You got to know how to do math.
You got to know how to measure.
You got to know how to understand measurements and all that stuff. I'll help you do it, but after a while, you're going to have to know how to do it on your own. And I think that is a fantastic way to teach a kid. And you don't start with the cookies necessarily. Maybe you start with making some
fried chicken or something like that.
Macaroni and cheese. You know, kids like macaroni and cheese. Let's make some macaroni and cheese. You know, and you get a little, you express a little excitement over it so the kid can be enthused. And you're teaching the kid something in the process. You get the kid involved in what you're doing. And if you do it when the kids are young enough, shit, kids want to do what you're doing in the first place. So you've got an automatic in if you're smart enough to take advantage of it. Homeschooling is not that complicated. Teaching a kid is not that complicated. It's when you're stuck teaching 30 at one time. That's when it gets complicated.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
And the reason it's complicated is because the bureaucracy has made it so.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm going on one of my speeches. Welcome to my
You're
TED
right.
Talk. I'll be over here.
Well, it's the truth of the matter. Like, I can't not look at some of the kids that were homeschooled and be somewhat envious because, yes, they had time to read stuff that none of us would have had time to read because it was always stuck to a curriculum. And yes, that means you have to wait for the one kid in class who can't read fast and takes like half of the class time to read a chapter. Yeah, I would envy the homeschool kids because you're like, God, I wish I could have had access to the stuff that you did.
This literally did happen to me in high school and high school. I was in all the advanced classes. However, I had basic math because my high school didn't really have the advanced classes, if you will. So
Okay.
I usually got in trouble in my one teacher's class. And he told my mother, I know exactly what the problem is. He's getting it too fast, and he's fucking bored. And I fucking was. I understood it because my mom made sure I fucking understood it. I had a powerful incentive to understand and do good in school.
Fair enough.
You know, and like, yeah, he's in the back talking, but again, by the time I get to him to give him something new, I got to deal with 30 other kids that aren't getting it as fast. You know, and that's the issue. You have people like that. You know, they get it fast, but they're being held down by everyone else, and there's no incentive for them to. If you're in a class full, if you were the one genius in a class full of fucking retards, you're gonna be bored. Like, why? It's just what it is.
It's literally one of those things. Like the only time you really need to be there is if you actually had a question.
Yeah.
Literally, you could just go in for the questions, and then go home.
Like, when I had enough credits to graduate my second semester of high school. Like, I had all my credits. I could have never came in a day after the second semester because I had all my credits to graduate. I passed all of my classes with A's and B's. The third in my class.
Except for speech.
Go to hell.
Yeah, I only really suffered for math.
I was talking about
because,
myself. I almost failed speech class. Everything else was.
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky though. My high school. I mean, my graduating class. We had at least 6 certifiable geniuses.
Well, Mitch isn't
where were
wrong
you?
in terms of
Bottom of the
class? Top 3.
I doubt it. You were top 0.
But Mitch isn't wrong in terms of like the homeschooling, like
Yes.
because you have the option of knowing your kid, you also have the understanding of how they learn better. And like math was one of those ones that like they dumped the book on me and I was left in a corner, and it was just assumed that because I had an extra class for learning things that teacher was helping me with the math, which was never the case. And so I just wrote off math as something I would do after school because they had no interest in teaching it to me. And that's how I treated it. But as soon as
I like how we started off with this hypothetical scenario to like homeschooling in classes.
Well, no, because as soon as I left school, I did exactly what Mitch said. Because everywhere I worked, it was food or customer service. So I forced myself to do math.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I learned way more on my own than I ever did in college. Not to say that college didn't help me like refine some of my passions that I would later have, but I'm pretty sure I learned a lot more on my own than I ever actually learned in school.
That 6 months didn't help you that much, eh?
It didn't. It really
Oh,
didn't.
damn.
To a certain extent, when you're doing it at work, it kind of makes work more entertaining, because I would make a game out of it. Like, yeah, I would do the math in my head. Sometimes I would write it down, but I made it a point of like, no, I don't always need a calculator. Sometimes I might, just to check that I got my numbers right. But
I do the
once you
same
realize,
thing.
like, once you realize you can do it in your head, it becomes kind of fun. And I was like,
Oh yeah,
you know
like
what,
making change.
they suck the fun out of learning things sometimes. And
Yeah.
maybe.
Oh yeah.
The real fun
No,
in
what
that, Jen, is when you can do it. Say we can do it mentally faster than the folks with the calculator.
Shit,
That's really fun.
I had an argument with a coworker of mine one day, and I said like, we do math all the fucking time. Goes, no, we don't. Like, you may not know you're doing the math, but your brain is already doing the math. It's like when you're a football player, you may not be actively thinking about how far and how hard you got. You're not doing the mathematical calculations in your head actively when you're throwing the football, but you're doing the mathematical calculations in the back of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're judging, how lift, drag, you're doing all that calculations instantly to get the achieved goals. Boxing, you're doing the same type of math. You're just doing it fast enough that you don't register it. Throwing a punch,
Right.
Like if you throw a weak punch, it's not gonna do shit. But you're trying to throw a punch with enough force to do damage, but not hurt you. That is the fucking math.
Sometimes
not
those
just
big
math, there's
punches
geometry
are
and shit involved too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Geometry, physics. I'll do you one better, Tyr. Probably everybody here has done recreational spreadsheets at some point.
Yeah.
Recreational what?
Spreadsheets.
What the fuck is a recreational spreadsheet?
Where you make a spreadsheet.
Taking a digital photograph?
What?
Ever taken a digital photograph?
Yeah.
It's just a spreadsheet of color codes.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
That's really all it is.
But that doesn't make me someone who uses spreadsheets.
I use spreadsheets all the time, the organized characters and shit like that.
I used when I was working, the last restaurant I worked in, I spent months collecting data from all of the restaurant's invoices. I don't mean the bills they paid to like you. Oh, no, not utilities, because they didn't factor into this equation.
Mm-hmm.
What I was trying to do is I was trying to put together a pricing guide that, once kept up, would be really easy to gauge where your prices are on the menu to see if they're in line with what you're paying out for supplies.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I spent months collecting data to determine an average. And I did all that in a spreadsheet in Microsoft Excel. These days I wouldn't use Microsoft Excel because I'm not renting software. Fuck you.
Fuck that shit.
But so yeah, it's using spreadsheets and building automatic calculations or automated calculations into it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And oh my god. You want to know where it really came in handy though? Collecting all that data, I was able to incidentally, the restaurant owner never bothered using it because
picking up TFF.
All right, because he was too enamored with the concept that he could do stuff in his head, and maybe he could. I don't know.
I say,
but
I don't. For some of that stuff, I don't care if you can do it in your head. To be able to drop a couple of changes in and know this is the price point I should be aiming at. As a defensible position to be able to explain it to others is also valuable.
Yes.
Being able to make it so that other people can understand where you are and how you got there.
Shit.
Exactly.
And the less the person can understand the math to get there, the more important a tool is. It's like, hey, okay, if you want to treat it as magic, it's magic. But if you put the correct information in here, you're going to get a repeatable result there.
Exactly. Now, where this spreadsheet that I developed came in real handy was I developed foods, or dishes rather, and one of the things I developed was called a macho nacho pizza.
I like the name.
Oh yeah, I mean you got to have fun with the naming conventions when it comes to pizza. It's just the law.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But with the Macho Nacho, man, that had a lot of shit on it to do it right. And I took all that information I'd gathered, the weight of the spice mixes per serving. I got it down to the per serving level. And I factored everything in. And I was able to generate a 10-inch pizza diameter.
Giggity.
That cost under $10 as a specialty kind of pizza. You know, if you were conceited, it would be part of the gourmet line. Incidentally, there's no such thing as a gourmet pizza. That's a lie.
An artisan pizza.
Agreed.
But $10 for a 10-inch pizza like this, that is actually a pretty good price. And once and that's factoring in labor and all kinds of extras. For example, when I price something out, I price every conceivable delivery scenario. For example,
okay,
if it's an in-house dish, if it's a takeout dish, or if it's a delivery, I factor in all those costs into a single cost. That way, no matter how it's delivered to the customer, it is, what's the word I'm looking for? Everything's paid for.
Yes.
So I don't have to worry about losing 20 cents on a pizza box, for example.
Oh, that's
and I came in at under $10 with the 25% food cost. Industry standard is 33% food cost, so I actually had a better profit margin than most of the industry on this thing.
So what, $2.50 for everything, and you made what?
Yeah, $2.50 for every conceivable supply option.
Mm-hmm.
And $10. Well, yeah, $2.50 was the cost. The standard. The reason why it's usually a 33% food cost is because you usually take it to compensate for labor.
Mm-hmm.
You multiply by a factor of 3 to get to 100%, and that's your price. But I was able to do it by multiplying to a factor of 4 and still keep the cost reasonable.
Okay.
That is a trick. And I did it without cheating.
Now, see, for me, with more advanced math, that's when my brain decides to troll me. And instead of focusing on math, it turns it into Keynesian economics, which is still math. It is. It's just more complicated because you need a visual now. Or at least I do.
I mean,
they're
again,
fun to watch.
and here we have different ways of learning things. And Mitch had, his food thing.
Mm-hmm.
If we applied these things, like honestly, trade schools should be more. They should be pushed
more
further.
Prevalent?
Yeah, more prevalent, and they should be pushed as the first option instead of college. Oh, you can go to trade school, learn to do a skill, and you can always go back after you made money to college to further your education if you choose to. It's not necessary. Yeah.
Sorry. Well, I was gonna say that's pretty much been true for the longest time. Like, if you look at most fields nowadays, like the blacksmith was probably the wizard of his time.
He was.
To a lot of people because of all of the things he had to know. Like a mason.
More like an alchemist, but yeah.
Like they had their own math if you were a mason because they were counting using their hands.
Shit. That's why masonry, like the Freemasons, they had to keep their knowledge to their apprentices and their apprentices only. That's why they had their secret society. Like only Masons can know how to build buildings, because if everyone learned how to build buildings, we'd be fucked.
Yeah, the industry would collapse.
Yeah, but if we can keep our skills to those we choose to learn them, it will protect our class, our business, and our industry and our livelihoods. That's why the Masons were all They were the first fucking guild. Like you want your castle built, you found a mason, and he did his thing.
Now, people I would have found sketchy, and that's based off my own opinion nowadays, the barbers. Oh yeah, they were sketchy. Like, you're measuring my pea color? Fuck you.
Well, barbers did all kinds of crazy stuff, so...
Yeah.
Including
they probably
bloodletting.
Did save lives, too. At the end of the... They were kind of a doctor at the time.
Shit, even doctors at the time still had to remember different herbal formulas, different... Oh, this herb did this with that thing, and... someone had an inflammation. Well, you gave him this herb. He had a cough. You gave him this herb. This mixture was good for that.
And risk threats of witchcraft too.
I mean,
yeah.
Ignorance. Those that don't understand it's magic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with magic came around because we lacked the knowledge to understand what the fuck was going on. Oh, well, no, you just had a fucking
some of them may have been poisoners too.
No, think about it. Like, if you have a cold and people are telling you like it's the devil, but I give you a herb that can like just instantly cure it. But I tell you like you just drink this and you'll be fine, and you drink this like it's fucking magic.
Hey, so an author wrote this statement, Arthur C. Clarke. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Yes.
Yep.
To a lesser society, yes. If the Star Trek universe were to come into our world and we see people fucking beaming up everywhere, we'd assume it's fucking magic. Like, that would be our first inclination. The fucking sorcerer.
Oh, well, I would say maybe like 50 years ago, yeah. More like 80 years ago.
Elon, you've worked hard this year.
Yeah. We'd be saying that about Elon Musk now. He's basically the Tony Stark of our world.
He's willing to at least try to be weird. I don't think he's great. I like that he's willing to try to be weird.
I mean, he's an innovator. Like, don't get me wrong. Catching rockets, being able to reuse rockets is a massive step forward in space travel.
Yeah, it is.
Like
it's. But
sorry. Well, it's also when I say being weird, a lot of inventions back in the day would have appeared incredibly weird to the people at the time. You have to put your you are putting yourself at risk of society thinking you're a massive crazy person. But that's the thing, like, I like that he's willing to do that. Like, yes, people make fun of him, he's autistic and shit, he can't even put his arm up without false accusations. But I give him credit for being willing to be, you have to be a clown to invent things sometimes.
Shit, fucking Nikola Tesla. Yeah. Look at Tesla. Tesla himself came up with wireless energy transfer. Something people thought impossible until we started realizing, wait a minute, that's actually feasible.
The sad part is,
for the record, Mitch, that does mean he's gonna fuck up sometimes. Like, if you're willing to be an ass, sometimes you're gonna be an ass.
What you were saying, Mitch, yeah, I agree. Like, it until recently, it was just theory and conjecture. But when we proved it can be done, like, I don't have a physical charger for my phone. I have a wireless charger. It works on the same principle.
Yeah.
So, again, he was a madman back in his time frame. It's fucking insane. This is crackpot science. Until now, where he's proven like he was on.
Well, everything's crackpot science until you prove it can work.
True.
It's like the conversion from the old planes to the jet planes. It took people a long time to realize they didn't need that front propeller to make a plane fly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then it's been an innovation since then.
Shit. Look, if you've seen the latest stealth bombers, where the fuck is the engine? Look at that damn thing.
In there.
We know it's one. we know it has an engine, but the way it looks, it does not look like a goddamn it possesses an engine.
I also don't look into those stories because sometimes it took a lot to actually get that far. Like, you know, it does take trial and error to get something that works, which means sometimes some things fucking fail, and it's just hoping that nobody died in the process. Every single time.
The engine has to be very carefully designed on those things to have minimal radar return.
Exactly. Again, back in the day, that would have been crackpot science. You can't design an engine like that. Soundless fucking engine. silly Dr. Blah 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 Stein. You know, but now, whoa. Reusing rockets the way Elon has. Again, crackpot science. It's just amazing. Like, maybe within my lifetime, we could get commercial space travel. I hope so.
Which would be kind of neat.
I mean,
it would be neat when there's somewhere to go.
I mean, what if we can keep doing? If Elon can keep getting rockets, he can actually, like, we can start building shit in space, like actual fucking colonies.
We can ask the MOTZ.
Get to Optimals! I mean, again, we can let's first go to the moon and build a moon colony. You know, regular shipments from Elon's rockets back and forth.
Like, you know what would be nice for them to do too? And maybe Boeing. Sorry. Maybe Boeing is up their ass. It would be nice if Boeing would, like, take a look at their planes. Like, maybe, I know they don't have any control over the old planes that they've sold and shit, but there's nothing wrong with an upgrade to stuff we already have.
Boeing won't.
More efficient is always better.
Boeing won't innovate because it takes forever to make a single plane.
Say there's multiple things fighting innovation on there. One is the challenge in time to construct a plane or to retrofit one. But another significant thing is Boeing can't do anything on their own there. They have to get permission and approval for any change they want to do. That's one of the things where the whole 9/11 thing, people don't get how literally there's no way they could have avoided it at the time. One, because they could not have legally banned the box cutters on the plane. Two, they couldn't legally change the
I'm not even
so
referring to 9/11. I mean, like, the current day stuff.
No, but the thing is, they can't just up and innovate on their own on that. They can research, they can try and develop and everything, but they are hyper regulated. They can't do anything the FFA or the FAA doesn't approve.
And that's stuff that I'm frustrated with. Like, that's stuff that we need to, But like, I don't want to put people at risk either, but I'd like.
I mean, we're overregulated as a rule, and really, I mean, we should be committing and committed to. Okay, there might be reasons for a new regulation in a given area for some reason, but if we're going to add a regulation, we should be dropping 5 to 10 minimum for every one we add, because there is too much out there. I can guarantee you every single one of us during the stream has broken some law.
I know. It's not just for the travelers either.
I told you that in confidence.
It is for the people who work there, you know, like it is actually about them too, you know, because.
Well, say if they would start doing some innovation, maybe they would stop killing whistleblowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
they're as bad as Hillary at this point.
And it's not just Boeing either.
Well,
like, I mean,
hold on.
Like the Korean, sorry.
Go ahead, Jen.
Well, it's like the Korean crash. Like, I didn't blame Boeing for that. I actually blamed the Korean airport more for that, because if they hadn't had a wall to block them, they maybe could have skated on the ground. Because, like, there was clearly a malfunction, but it's not just that one. It was just, there was so many bad ones where I saw the people working in there, and they died too.
Shit, it's
you know, like it's everybody that I know it. I know those are just bad outliers too. You know, I know a lot of planes do just fine. Mm-hmm. We've gone a long way since 9/11.
Honestly, honestly, Jen, like the amount of plane crashes is still, the average is still maintained. It is only that you hear about them more because there is a vehicle of attack on the president. Like, at least in America.
You know, and in all honesty, like, you know, as much as we focus on the airplanes, it made me feel like shit because nobody gives a shit about the car crash. It's like...
But car crash innovations, the innovations in cars happen organically, if you will. Take the cameras in the back and the front for parking. It started off with Tesla, but a lot of cars are now implementing that, like safety features. Airbags at one point were only for select cars, and then people realized, holy shit, these got airbags that, you know, if there's a crash, will protect me. Okay, I'm going to start buying those. And then other manufacturers like, oh, well, if we offer that plus this, we can get those customers back.
And well, there's a difference between regulations and industry standard.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes.
You know,
that's like the person who created the seatbelt didn't patent it, so that way they could still be used in other vehicles.
Well, and let's be real. Regulations are designed to freeze out new competition.
Yes.
And those are the kinds of regulations that need to go away.
Yes. And we should incentivize adaptations of older tech, if you will. Like,
well, yeah. Let's say, for example, I want to put together a cell phone company.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing we want our cell phones to do is be phones. There's a market for that.
How dare you, sir?
But because of the regulations, we would be frozen out of that. For some reason, there'd be some stupid stipulation about it. And you know, the way you market that kind of a product is it's a don't track, don't tell. Phone.
Don't track, don't tell.
Yeah, same thing with automobiles. If I were Elon Musk, I would be disabling in all of my products anything that tracks data. Even if he doesn't want Tesla to share that data, he's not going to be around forever.
Yep.
Someone's going to get in there and say, "Hey, we have all this data. Let's sell that." After he's dead.
It's the same thing with Steam and Gabe Newell. Once Gabe goes, we don't know if we'll get someone.
Actually, he does have a few policies that would have to be changed first, which are can be exponentially harder to change, even after he dies.
But it's,
so he's one of the few who actually went and set his company up for success after he gets out. Like, quite literally, they don't have to do a fucking thing.
But
ideally, but you know what people are like. They're going to want to be able to basically put their name on something.
It is literally, this is easy the way to explain it. Old king, he conquers half of a nation, right? And then the new king comes like, I need to set myself apart from the old king. So instead of conquering half of a nation, I'm going to conquer the entire fucking continent. It is literally that concept. Oh, well, Elon made X amount of dollars with the company. Well, I need to make X amount of dollars more than he did. So let's see what I can do. Oh, he had a policy against selling data. Well, I don't have that same scruple. Let's sell the fucking data. Let's make more money for the company.
It all just depends on who goes to take over after him, because
and there's no way to guarantee who that's going to be.
Well, that shit happened with Lego, to where they thought they could make more money in that, and then what actually brought Lego back from almost hitting bankruptcy was they got someone in charge who was like, "These are toys. They're not a political statement. Like, we're selling toys. Like, sell toys, dumbass."
Yeah.
Well, to further bring that point home, even if you name your successor, shit will go south. And I can prove that in 2 words. Kathleen Kennedy.
Yep.
She was the handpicked. She was the chosen one, handpicked successor.
Yep, by George Lucas.
And she was.
So
And she did really good.
Hold on.
She used to work on really good movies before she went to this woke creature that she is.
Yeah, but that's the problem. She wanted to leave a legacy. She wanted to make Star Wars hers. She wanted to X out George. And
she wanted to steal his legacy, is what she wanted.
Basically, yes.
She wanted to prove that the Kennedy universe was far more than the Lucas universe, and that's why she went on a completely different direction. She didn't understand.
But
George
the thing
understood
for that
the
as well,
story.
You also have to understand when Lucas turned it over to Disney, he gave all of the rights and didn't leave any creative thing for himself. Like what I was bringing up for Steam was like Neil has put freaking stuff in place to basically stop those people. Gabe, yes, thank you.
Neil. I love that.
I can never fucking remember what his name is.
Gabe Newell.
Well, it's like with the stuff that I write. If it's a property of my own, and some studio wants to buy a movie idea from me, then part of that deal is that you can't change things that I don't want changed.
Yes, you retain some freedom.
If my name is going on this thing, I've got the final say.
Yes.
And yeah, that's going to kill the deal. I know that. But I won't sacrifice. If I write something I don't care about, then yeah, go ahead and do what you will.
If I write something that ever gets optioned for a movie, I would love to. Look, y'all need to let me write the script. No rewrites. Don't change it. I need to write the script because I'm the only one that understands these characters because they are my characters. So
that's the kind of stuff I put in sales contracts.
Like only I understand them, so I can write the movie. I can make a logical movie.
But then how you understand my vision of your character, which is far superior to your own?
No, it isn't. Write your own. Fuck off.
And
bear in mind, I'm going to keep my eye on you for any of my ideas that you try to steal.
It is I say this, and I mean it. Rings of Power could have been a great show had they not marketed as a Lord of the Rings TV show.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because now hear me out. Because you had the scene where Elrond and Galadriel are kissing. If these were just Elf A and Elf B, who we don't have this connection to and this history with, holy shit, they're in love. Oh, her being seduced by the Dark Lord. Oh, there's no connection there for us to draw anything. You were creating this universe. You were creating this story that we have no connection to and that we're watching. It would make much more sense to do your own IP if you're not gonna fucking follow the book.
Right.
Yep. The thing is, they're convinced that their own content is inferior enough that it won't make the same money if it's not sold under a popular name.
It's like the fucking. Go ahead.
It's like my Halloween thing. I don't like the way the Halloween franchise has been handled at all. There's like 2.5 good movies in the Halloween franchise, and 1.5 of those movies are questionable. And that's out of 10, 11, 12, 13. I don't know how many fucking movies at this point. But I don't like the way it's been handled as a franchise. It's been abused. So,
yeah,
I came up with my own idea, and it's not going to be Michael Myers, and it's not going to be Laurie Strode, and it's not going to be Haddonfield. But it's going to be the story is going to be consistent throughout all of the different iterations. And why? Because I have a story that makes sense already. I have a motivation for the killer that makes sense already. That motivation is not something you put on screen for the audience to look at. It's what you keep behind the scenes. so that the writers can remain consistent. It's a tool for them.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And then by the time it's all over, it's going to have, we're going to have our killer going to die, because I mean, a psycho killer who's 106 years old and eating tapioca out of a fucking mobility scooter.
It's not fucking scary. Yeah. Killing people in the old folks' homes.
But imagine how scary it is to have, instead of having that slow walk, he's got that slow shuffle with the walker.
And the battery light comes on,
All right, go ahead, Jen. Sorry.
Well, not to go back to the Lord of the Rings, but this could go back to yours anyway, Mitch. I admit I've only really read the books one time, like did a full read through it, because he babbles so fucking much. But when I think about the writing of that show, I'm like, did they even, like, were they ever even fantasy fans? Because of the way that they wrote Galadriel. Like, it felt like they were throwing shade at her for being a sorceress and not like a swordsman. And I'm like, it depends on the game you're playing. Like, the swordsman isn't necessarily the strongest person. They can be. It depends on the role.
No, what they were trying to do, all right, don't get me wrong. Galadriel should never have been a warrior. She was never a warrior. She never fought. That wasn't her role, in things.
She did fight.
It's why I say that.
She didn't fight in the old age. She didn't fight.
That's why I don't think they A, read the book, or B, have any love for like fantasy in the first place. Because like when you like, it's a quick thought through. She's one of the most powerful sorceresses in the world. Yeah. Who has time to do swords play when you're doing that?
If you're like 7,000 years old, yeah.
She fought in the time after the kinslaying.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Because all the elves that crossed back over to Middle Earth after the kinslaying fought. All of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Well, the orcs wasn't fucking. But.
Well, like the thing is, just when you say they fought, like some people when they're fighting, some people are archers, some people are swordsmen. Does that not mean that she wasn't still fighting as a sorceress?
A bit of both.
Okay.
She would have been an absolute
haunted tapioca.
wicked person to face off against on a battlefield, and not just because she's quite adept at magic.
So what they should have done, and in all honesty, they would have had to rip from another franchise. I would have designed her after Sylvanas, but before she became a Wrath.
Again, or not even if you wanted to make your own fucking IP, just make your own fucking IP.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
At some point,
I'm not going to try to sell my thing on the back of Halloween. Although it is the
inspiration.
The inspiration, and there's an influence involved, certainly. And furthermore, it's the influence and inspiration comes from John Carpenter's original idea to make a franchise, or I'm sorry, not a franchise, but an anthology series. The difference is I'm still going to have at least 3 trilogies with this killer. So it's still going to be a big, if it were to work, it would still be an IP on par with Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, and Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
But there's going to be little clues and seeds laid out in every film that are opportunities for us to branch off to another story in another place in that world.
See you, JB.
See you, JB. So, like in Halloween, when the grave tender guy, the groundskeeper at the cemetery, says to Dr. Loomis, reminds me of what happened in Russellville 15 years ago, and he starts telling that story but never finishes. That's a seed that you use to spin off in the same world a different story in your anthology. So it keeps everything connected, but it doesn't have to be, Dr. Loomis.
It doesn't have to be on the, yeah.
I'm gonna run to the.
You can still make an original story, and it doesn't have to be a psycho killer story.
It can be a werewolf story.
It can still be a horror story. It can be a family movie about a kid and a ghost, or it can be a vampire movie, or a creature from the deep monster movie.
That's kind of why I'm coming from this angle, Mitch, because like right away I can tell that you're a horror fan because you can list so many different horrors. Like when I think about Lords of the Rings, and they're like, okay, they're looking for elf characters. Well, the next thought in my head was Lotus Wars, because they absolutely have 2 elves in there that would represent a pretty decent Galadriel. Yes, they're their own characters, but like when you describe them to a person, yeah, they do sound like a warrior princess. I think one of them is. It's been a while since I did Animu.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's actually a better story, to be honest.
Well, yeah, that's how you keep your product fresh and active. You have to be able to branch out somehow, and without having the you can't just branch out by saying Dr. Loomis finds another child killer and goes, oh my God, it's a child killer. Because then you're not really branching out, you're just rehashing. Like for example, you know what we're getting this year? I know what you cash grabbed this summer. We're getting that fucking soft reboot bullshit.
All right, Mitch, I got one for you. How many times do you get people getting the monsters confused with the Addams Family?
Probably more than I'd care to admit.
I like both of them, but I blame Lynch.
But I mean, it makes sense if you're familiar with one and not the other, and especially now with the soft reboots and the reimaginings and all the other bullshit in Hollywood. If you're only familiar with the Addams Family, and then you see an episode of the Munsters in color, you're probably wondering if this is a reboot of the Addams Family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a logical assumption to make if you're not familiar with both properties.
Fair enough.
Mitch, if I wanna keep it fresh, I just rinse it out and then spray it down with Febreze.
That works too.
I think that's the other thing I have against Hollywood is when they get hyper focused on stuff, they ignore. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just saying I'm going to switch to the image splash screen because, yeah, and pop out.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think I think when Hollywood gets hyper focused on something, they just can't drop it, and that's kind of obvious.
It's where we're at. I mean, look, they remade Halloween with Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
And it was great if you liked the white trash aesthetic. But for me, it spent too much time doing all the wrong things, and it bored me. Although I did really like Tyler Mane as Michael Myers, because that was awesome. When they remade Friday the 13th in 2009, they tried to tell the story from the original films 1 through 4 all in one movie, and it didn't work. Because they went, oh, we got to have this scene. Oh, we got to have that scene. Oh, we got to have this scene. No, it doesn't work that way. What you got to do, tell a coherent fucking story.
Mm-hmm.
And the story was fairly coherent, but it managed to do a lot of things with Jason wrong, and it managed to do a lot of things, or it managed to be another exercise in Hollywood learning the wrong lessons from success. And don't get me started on the reboot of A Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh my God.
Lord, yeah.
But then, they keep trying to bring Scream back like that's a franchise, and it's not.
No.
Too many things about Scream don't make sense. I understand it's popular.
The first one was fine, and then that's where it should have ended.
I agree. The concept of that movie really is a one-off.
thing I understood about Scream, the most of it was that it was satire of horror films, and it was.
Well,
And
no,
it actually does make sense.
The satire version of Scream was better because at least it was funny.
It wasn't as much a satire as
Which
it was
one?
Drink, if you know what I did last Friday the 13th.
Yes, I fucking love Shriek. Oh my god, Shriek was so good.
The original.
Hold
on.
What's so scary about that?
Hold on, Mitch.
From the mall.
Wait a minute, Mitch, you're trying to say something.
The original, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Again, that's a great one-off movie. But I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, made 2 years later. I'm guessing at that.
I guess what you did last summer.
How is that still what you did last summer? Fuck you, movie.
Some movies don't need sequels.
It's like The Blair Witch never needed a sequel. I won't watch the sequel.
It never got a sequel.
It did.
Yeah.
No, it really didn't.
Well, not based off of what the original was based off of. No, like Mitch isn't wrong. Like that's why I'm like, what the fuck is this thing that you're? Okay.
If that second movie had anything other than the Blair Witch in the title, it would have been a good movie. But calling it a Blair Witch movie, I mean, I know they based it. They tried to make it a sequel by treating the movie like it existed in the real world, the original, like it existed in the real world. And
which sequel are we talking about?
Book of Shadows.
This other group and try to look around.
Book of Shadows didn't treat it as if it exists in the real world. Book of Shadows treated it as if it was a movie.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I got.
And the problem with the Book of Shadows movie was the fact that, and I think it was Harvey Weinstein. The studio kept sticking shit into it because they thought shit needed to be put in there.
Right. Exactly. And if you get rid of all that shit, you have a pretty good thriller.
Yeah, like they stuck shit in there that didn't need to be in there. They put some of the scenes in a different order than they should have been.
I mean, just the whole S. Rever thing. The whole S. Rever thing, that's a really neat way to go about it. But no, the studio fucked it up on every level. So I don't think it's a real sequel. I think it's a con job.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like the guy who went about it, and that's the thing, is it was supposed to be a sequel, and then all the things that the studio put in there are the shit that everyone hated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The biggest thing being that opening sequence of going over the trees, because they put Marilyn Manson's Beautiful People, which I still like as a song, but it was supposed to be Frank Sinatra's Witchcraft.
Yeah.
And that changes the tone of it
the mood
entirely.
And tone of the movie.
Because like quite literally there wasn't even I'm gonna go ahead and ruin the movie. There was only supposed to be one death in the movie.
Oh no!
And it was supposed to be. Well, they have the whole thing to where they run into another tour group and then end up killing them, which the studio had put in there and wasn't necessary. What it was supposed to be in the end was what they saw in film was that actually real life or whatnot, because of the one girl of the group hanging herself at the end.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a real psychological thriller kind of thing.
That's exactly what it was supposed to be, was a psychological thriller. And just the studio didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Which the first one clearly was.
Well, the first one was a found footage horror film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the studio just wanted to do wash, rinse, repeat. That's why when they made the reboot of the second one, the Blair Witch is real, but she exists but it's the video that the person watches is like of their own death because of time being a whole weird thing and whatnot.
They
so
overcomplicated
like a weird play off the ring. Sorry, it sounds like a weird play off.
I wish I had the money to get a Blair Witch license and make the movie I want to make.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't even be that expensive.
No, it wouldn't. I mean, it would be, a lot of it would be shot in flashback because it's a documentary film crew doing a story on a court case.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's easy to film. I say easy, but it's probably got its own troubles and whatnot. They all do. But that's one location. Then The rest of it is one night, some guy on a killing spree, and we go into a flashback every time one of the prosecution witnesses testifies.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
That would
So
be good.
boom, there's that. And there's of course, because of the original movie, the Blair Witch Project, there's a contingent in, because it happens in Burkittsville, Burkittswood, whatever the fuck it's called.
Brokeassville.
Yeah, Brokeassville. And the defendant is all the time claiming it wasn't me. I don't know what happened, but that looks like me, but it's not me. I didn't do that stuff. And that's the defendant's contention the whole time. And the documentary film crew is, they're getting footage from the court proceedings, and sometimes they're going out to locations and looking at stuff where things had already happened, old crime scenes that they can now go and visit without fucking up the investigation. And in the process, at the end of the movie, where the guy's convicted because all the evidence really is against him and it looks legit, but at the end, we're going to learn that something else was in fact going on, because remember those 3 kids that disappeared 20-something years ago? Well, in reviewing our documentary footage, we start to notice that they're appearing everywhere. Those same 3 kids, Josh, Mike, and Heather. They're just in the background in the documentary footage, and it's kind of a what the fuck moment, because they're supposed to be missing. Why are they sitting in the gallery in this courtroom? Why is one of them across the street just standing there and watching while we're looking at this old crime scene? What the fuck is going on? And it's not till the end that the documentary film crew notices this. So in addition to being like a courtroom drama / slasher film, it really becomes a what the fuck kind of movie. Almost like an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Because the best part is, if you go back and just watch the movie, you'll see those people there, but you didn't notice them before because
you weren't supposed
they
to.
were so much in the background. But if you rewatch the movie, you're like, oh shit, Heather was standing there. They didn't just throw that at the end to fuck with the viewer. That's actually Heather standing there. Oh, there's Josh. There's Josh, Heather, and Mike in the gallery. What the fuck?
What the hell is
Why
going
didn't we
on?
notice this the first time we watched it?
What the hell is going on?
Yeah, it's a smart way to make a movie, because you still get that found footage aspect without focusing on it being a found footage horror film, because you're leaning into the documentary aspect instead. And you create rewatchability when someone watches it for the second time and picks up, hey, those people really were there the whole time and we didn't see it. So, now you've got at least 2 views per person out of this movie if you do it right. And you got all the views where they're going to say, hey, dude, watch this shit. Then watch it again.
Look, because word of mouth is far more powerful than anything else.
Yes. You just have to tell the story in a compelling manner. And I think the story there is compelling enough to be successful. And don't look try to be the new gold standard for the industry. Just tell a good story.
Yes. And then tell your story, get the hell out.
Yeah. Because the Hollywoods, they're not going to give you any awards in the horror. Not at all. You might get special effects out of science fiction or fantasy. You'll never get best actor out of them. You'll never get best writing out of them. Don't even try. Just get in, tell your good story, and get out.
Like all the
let it fail or succeed on its own merits.
All the weird criteria for fucking movies nowadays to get anything.
Yeah, that's to get official. That's to get official support from the infrastructure in Hollywood.
Yeah, you gotta have so many blacks. You gotta have so many XYZ nowadays. It
All your key
isn't enough.
characters have to be played by gay people.
Yeah, it gotta
I
be.
can't wait for someone to do I want someone to do a film on the Ku Klux Klan, and then be forced to put black people in it under the hoods.
Make them all black.
Yeah, why not? Hey,
I can see Tyr doing it too.
we're just being inclusive, right?
Exactly.
Well, see, I wanted to dedicate.
Can't see out of these fucking things.
Because Disney decided to rob from the little people. I thought about making one for them. It was going to be called Undercover Midget Squad. You know, and they're an undercover agency, and you know sometimes they have to go spaces where, I'm sorry, little people, but you know you might have to pretend to be younger than you are. You know, maybe just because no one would think that would be you, and I would just let them take the piss out of it.
You know what, Jen? That's actually a really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Just on the basis of the best spies are the people you don't see.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would let them run away. Like I would literally let the little people decide what jokes they want, because I think some of them are funnier than I am. Like I've seen a few of them crack jokes that I wouldn't chance.
Brad Williams would nail that role.
You know what you do?
Ain't
Also,
that the
you
truth?
forbid Peter Dinklage from being in this movie.
That's
Peter
part of
Dinklage.
it. That is actually part of it. He's not allowed to be a part of it. Sorry, man.
You're an asshole.
Well,
yeah.
He's this is how I made my success. Now I'm going to close the door after me.
I'm going to pull up the ladder so I can get all the roles.
You know, unless Peter Dinklage wants to come in and just have not the villain, but Peter Dinklage be a target in the movie for jokes.
Hey, Dinklage, you treacherous.
Then we'll let you in, but you're going to fucking pay through the face.
You know?
Sorry.
Basically. If you want a redeeming arc, that's how you get it,
you
sir.
go. Every third person practically is confusing one of the midgets for Dinklage.
Oh no.
Hey, it's Peter Dinklage. I'm not Dinklage.
I'm not you're looking for it. I'm not Wee Man, okay?
Yeah, no, exactly.
You know what? You could do it in such a way where it makes a play off of Game of Thrones. You know, for that one season where between him and the other guy, it was penis jokes and midget jokes.
Podrick.
Mm-hmm.
He's pawed the rod.
You know,
yeah, I like to be a little bit mean. It's done in such a way where it reminds him that he did a whole. Yeah, remember?
You know, because my movies will never get made. I don't have the connections. I don't have I don't have the money. Blah blah blah. I hope AI becomes a thing, because I would love to. You know, I can't even get them to fucking be a graphic novel because I don't have the skills. But if I could get AI, if AI gets to the point where I could say, "Hey, make this movie based on my film treatment or whatever," and just punch it in, so I wouldn't even try to sell. I just want to watch the movie myself.
I mean, I'm
share
hoping
it with a few friends.
I'm hoping AI gets to that point where we can create our own movies and entertainment and shit like that.
Yeah, but really, it would be great if AI were smart enough to say, okay, how should these people be dressed in this situation? Just so we can just so AI can if AI can learn to ask the right questions, it will be easier for AI to learn.
Yes.
Maybe I shouldn't be given that advice. Maybe I've just doomed humanity.
More likely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting a little sleepy, so I want to close it out.
All right.
Quick programming note. I will
He's
not.
afraid of the AI now.
I am. We will not have a Millions in Space this Friday. But there will be a little special something for Independence Day on my channel, my Rumble channel. It'll be one of the after hours, so come look at that. You know, hopefully everybody on here will be on there that you can make it. I would love to have you.
Skipping.
Sorry.
Yeah, your CD skipped a little bit.
Like I said, I would love to have you guys on there with us.
He's doing jumping jacks in the room with the record player.
I'm sorry. It must be the fucking storm.
Solar flare or something.
Tyr's internet is a piece of shit. Got it.
That was solar flares. Is
It was
that what
just
we're
like
calling
Jess
it
getting
now?
whipped on my back.
Frontier Communications.
All right. But aside from that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out. Say goodbye to the nice people.
Rock on, everyone.
All right.
Goodbye to the nice people.
See y'all next week. And press that.
Wanna take me home. I know who I wanna take me home. Take me home. Closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.